Hello, YouTube, and welcome back to Brewing with Magic. Well, got more spoilers for you. It's an amazing time of the season. I don't know about you, but I'm a little bored of the current standard, and so I'm really excited every single time I get to see some more cards. Today, Wizards did tweet out that we are going to be seeing a lot to do with the Lorehold or Boros College. So that's what we've got for you, is a bunch of red, white, or red-white cards. Also, as always, when we're doing this, I have Will with me. Hey, Will.
Hey, everybody.
Good to see you. Glad to have you back. So, before we get into the cards, I would like to remind everyone to subscribe, like the video, and leave us a comment down below. As soon as we hit that 100 subscriber landmark, we are giving away 3,400 gems for free to one of our subscribers at random. So, smash that subscribe button. It's real quick. There, you just did it that fast. Share it with your friends, and let's have fun building a community. Ready to get into this, Will?
Let's do it.
Okay, first off, we have Hogar Ghostforge, which is 1 white, 1 red, and 3 colorless, legendary creature, dwarf cleric, and it comes out as a 4/5. Spirits you control get +1/+1 and have trample and haste. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, exile it. If you do, create a token that is a copy of that creature, except it is a spirit in addition to its other types, and has, whenever this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to your graveyard. Whew. Well, what is this? There's so many words there. What is this doing for us?
This card is going to be that mid-range, probably game finisher card if you're building a spirits deck, or if you're building a deck around creatures that are trying to get onto the battlefield, do some damage, and he gets on there and then they die. Or self-inflict, destroy your own creatures, make them into hasty creatures that get ++1 and attack their face and try to kill them. I'm going to see this a lot, probably more played in Brawl. But those decks that do build this in Standard, I think it's definitely going to fit a certain criteria. I don't think this is going to be one of those cards you jam into a lot of red and white decks unless you're trying to go big.
Yeah, I was going to say Commander, so I guess Brawl, I agree. I guess, to me, this is a Brawl card all day long. Maybe a bomb in the limited format. I don't really see it, in my opinion, hitting Standard anytime soon. But who knows? I've been wrong many a times in the past. Ask my wife. So next we have Vulmuldus Lorehold. 1 white, 1 red, 5 colorless, legendary creature, Elder Dragon. I love me an Elder Dragon. 5/5, flying, vigilance, haste. Whenever Vulmuldus Lorehold attacks, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may cast an instant or sorcery spell with mana valued less than or equal to this creature's power from among them without paying its mana cost. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. There are a lot of words on these cards, Will. Let's break this one down. It's a lot of mana.
Yeah, I mean, for 7, a 5/5. But I mean, flying, vigilance, haste, I mean, hopefully it's a game finisher for you. This is definitely one of those go big decks where you want this to be the card that helps you win. And if you're playing this and you're not getting a win value out of it, then it is definitely going to be expensive and you're not going to get as much as you hope. In Commander, I don't even think this should be a Commander. I don't think it should be part of the 99. But it could probably be well in Brawl if you build a deck around this card and you're specifically trying to get to some type of finisher as well. But again, 7, it's for what it can do. It has to be built a certain way.
Yeah, I think Hogar Ghostforge that we were just talking about might see niche play in Brawl. I think this one might be a bulk rare, but I could be wrong. One fun thing to note, though, is if you do hit your opponent with this, you can play the Lorehold command because it's a 5 cast and this is a 5/5. So that's about the only thing fun it's got going for it, in my opinion. Okay, so next we have Vulnerable Warsinger. 1 white, 1 red, 1 colorless, vigilance, trample, 3/3. This is a spirit cleric. Whenever Vulnerable Warsinger deals combat damage to a player, you may return target creature card with mana value X or less from the graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of damage Vulnerable Warsinger dealt to that player. This one seems better than the other 2 we've seen so far tonight. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I actually love this card. I think this is going to be one of those cards that we see going on in white red Boros decks for its ability by itself. Vigilance, trample, great. 3/3, okay, it already dodges some damage spells, but when it hits, that's the amazing part. Imagine you bringing back like a Robber of the Rich, or maybe pumping this by 2 and bringing back a bigger creature, or just hitting right off the bat with this and getting a free Bone Crusher Giant back from the graveyard onto the battlefield. I just think this card is going to see a lot of play, and I'm excited to see what it can do.
Okay, well, from an old school Magic point of view, it is a 3 converted mana cost for a 3/3, so it passes that test. I like it there. You know what I'm going to say. I wish it had haste, so it did something right when it came in, but man, if you can protect this and get in there on turn 4 with it, I definitely think there's some value there. And the first thing I thought was maybe this is, if you're curving out with a Winota deck instead of going a bunch of 1-drops, maybe this is your 3-drop now. I don't know, maybe. You're getting multiple actions happening in the same turn between this and Winota.
Yeah.
Okay, next let's go into Blade Historian. 4 red, white, or the combination thereof. Creature, human cleric, 2/3. Attacking creatures you control have double strike. So, I know what I think. What do you think?
So this is one of those cards that it has to be on the very edge or the end curve of a deck that is built around trying to use the double strike ability. So if there is a card right now currently where we have creatures that are warriors, that all warriors get double strike, or if creatures have weapons attached to them, they also get double strike. So he would be one of those additional cards put in there to really try to ramp out and make sure that you're getting that double strike feature. Beyond that, I'm not going to say this is going to go in very many decks. This is going to be very specific on what you're trying to build. If you're trying to push this into a deck that doesn't have those other categories in them, I think you're not going to get the value you're looking for.
Okay, well, I kind of agree and kind of don't. Let me see. I actually really like this card. Just depending on what mono red looks like when Strixhaven comes out, I think this might be a replacement for Torbrand on the top end of mono red. But it just depends. If you got a bunch of little 1/1s flying around, then obviously Torbrand is better. If you even got if you can make the attacks 2 on any of your creatures consistently through your curve, then you're getting a lot more value out of this than Torbrand, in my opinion. Not only that, but you have first strike because you have double strike. Torbrand gives you 2 more damage on every red source. So yeah, of course, this isn't affecting all red sources. It's only creatures. But in my opinion, it's doing a lot more for your creatures than Torbrand with that first strike and double strike. But that's just my opinion on that one. So next we have Radiant Scroll Wielder. It is 1 white, 1 red, 2 colorless, creature dwarf cleric. It's a 2/4. Instant and sorcery spells you control have lifelink. And then, at the beginning of your upkeep, exile an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard. You may cast it this turn. If a spell you cast this turn would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Talk to me.
Dude, I really like this card. Any cards that turns your spells into lifelink cards, I think are great. Because especially in red, when you're usually trying to shoot their face or, go right at them or even kill their creatures, and now your spells on the back end are coming back and giving you the ability to, do it again. I think this is great. So I really like this card. Plus, it's a 2/4, so it's able to protect itself. I know it comes out for 4, but at the end of the day, I think you're getting a lot of value out of it.
I'm so close to being on with this card with you. There's one thing, and I hope I'm wrong. The only reason I'm not on with this card is the random from the graveyard. Random, that card, that word right there. Had it not said random, I think I would have liked it. I think there's going to be a whole lot of feel bads with this card, but I hope you prove me wrong, and I can't wait to see the deck you give me with this card in it. So next we have Efreet Flame Painter. 1 white, 3 colorless, creature Efreet Shaman, 1/4. Little small in my opinion. Let's see what it does. Double strike. Whenever Efreet Flame Painter deals combat damage to a player, you may cast target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If that spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Okay. I think it convinced me. I think I might like this.
Yeah, I think this card is going to be fun. There's a lot of trickery you can do, especially being able to replay instants or sorceries from your graveyard without paying their mana conversion or mana cost. And I think with having more creatures such as this, being able to get through or trying to make it hit their opponent. So if you're being able to shoot down their creatures, take care of the board, and then come back in with this guy, then you're getting double value. I think it's to be a little bit tricky, but I think if you build the right shell around it, I think you're definitely going to have a lot of really fun extra value from this card.
Yeah, if it can withstand not having haste or an ETB, I think that this might see some play. We'll see. I'm excited. Okay, next we have Illuminate History. 2 red, 2 colorless, sorcery, lesson. And correct me if I'm wrong, is this our first rare lesson that we've seen?
That is right.
Okay.
Our first rare.
Let's see what you've got for us, lesson. Okay. It is a sorcery. Discard any number of cards, then draw that many cards. Then, if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, create a 3/2 red and white spirit creature token.
So this card, I think that it has a little bit of value. I mean, in red for itself, and why I like it as a lesson is because you can go fetch for this and pull it out. And if you need to will out some, maybe especially in red, if you have too many lands or if you're not getting the right cards you need, and then you're drawing some more cards. The good part about it is not only you drawing some of those extra cards, but you're now getting a 3/2 defender on the battlefield. So you're not like just fully wasting a turn, which I think that's the biggest fear I'm always thinking about when I'm in red. I wanted to maximize my turns. I want to get the most out of them. So that's the only thing I would say as an upside to this. The issue that I have, though, is just that if I don't have the right mana base or if I'm not seeing the things I need, then this could be a punishing card as well.
Gotcha. So, lessons, man. I can't wait to see exactly what kind of learns they're going to give us in red that are going to be worth playing so that we can go get lessons. But I don't remember. I listen to a lot of different podcasts and listen to a lot of different streamers, as most of us probably do out there. And so I can't remember exactly who said it. But my point is, one thing I do like about lessons that I don't know if we've mentioned yet is it does give you a reason to create a sideboard in best of 1. So that is going to be very interesting to see. So on face value, this card doesn't look super strong to me, just because when does red, unless it's big red, want to spend 4 mana to do what it's doing? Well, when is it? Maybe in the late game when you have all this extra mana and you were able to use a card you were going to use anyways in the new set that lets you go and grab this, and it's just sitting in your hand anyways. It was a free card you got from doing something earlier in the game. So it's kind of exciting. We'll see where this goes. Okay, so next let's do Semester's End. 1 white, 3 colorless. This is an instant. Exile any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers you control. At the beginning of the next end step, return each of them to the battlefield under its owner's control. Each of them enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if it's a creature, and an additional loyalty counter on it if it's a planeswalker. So there is a lot of words on a lot of these cards tonight. Your turn.
Yeah, this one is exciting. I'm actually super happy about this. Not just from it coming out in a standard, with arena and all this fun stuff, but from a commander standpoint, I think this is going to be a really good staple in a lot of decks that have creatures in them. But in standard also, or historic, I think this card is going to see a lot of play. And the reason being, it helps you avoid board wipes. So if you're a creature deck and you're going all in and you're trying to set up things and make things happen, and then the first worry we're always thinking about is, oh, they're going to exile all my stuff or they're going to board wipe me. And in response, you Semester's End. Their end step, so you blink all your stuff, it comes back. The next turn, all of your creatures have +1/+1 counters on it. Go right at their face and kill them. So I'm super excited about this card, and I can't wait to build decks around it.
Okay, well, I'm interested to see if that pans out. In my head, I'm thinking Glorious Protector. I haven't seen a whole lot of Glorious Protector going around. Granted, Semester's End does actually hit planeswalkers as well, and then comes out with tokens and loyalty and all this. So let's see. I'm interested. Once again, there's so many cards that look good, and you just never know until you start playing them. But I'm interested to see. I know if there's a way to play that in a deck, you're gonna find it. I know you're gonna. So next we have Sparring Regime. 1 white, 2 colorless, enchantment. When Sparring Regime enters the battlefield, learn. Then it has, whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature and untap it. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, this enchantment's going to be another fun card. I know it's in the 3-drop slot, so you're kind of borderline. It has to do something that gives you an ability when it comes out on a 3 slot. So I think this is a great 3-slot addition. So not only when it hits the battlefield, you're able to learn, so you can go back and you can look for a specific card that might help you later. But on top of that, it immediately has an effect. So your creatures that turn, when they attack, you put a +1/+1 counter on them and they untap. So basically gives them vigilance. So it's really good. I think, in my opinion, as you're starting on that low mana curve and building your way up, and then eventually this will make your smaller creatures that are already annoying, maybe as is, to become even that much more annoying every turn that they're still on the battlefield. So, and it has a little bit of avoidance to some of the removal spells if they draw them later and they can't remove counters from the creatures to kill them. So I think it has a lot of widespread value.
Okay, am I wrong in thinking this is a Luminarch aspirant that's harder to get rid of that also gets you card advantage?
Yep, 100%.
I mean, even though it's a 3-drop, I still think this might see some play in some white decks or even Boros creature-centric decks out there. Because, I mean, you go turn 2 Luminarch Aspirant, you go turn 3 into this, they might get rid of the Aspirant. If they did, you still have this. It's going to be much harder to get rid of an enchantment. If they didn't get rid of either, good luck. So,
yeah.
Okay, next we have Academic Probation. Uh-oh. Let's see if we're in trouble. We have 1 white, 1 colorless, sorcery lesson. Choose 1. Choose a non-land card name. Opponents can't cast spells with the chosen name until your next turn. Or choose target non-land permanent until your next turn. It can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. What are we doing with this? Are we using this?
Okay, so I like this card only for those white weenie decks or those decks that are really trying to like push through damage, and you're going against, we'll say, a soul tie deck, and they're ready to play that ultimatum, or they're ready to maybe exile everything on your board, and you know it, and you're able to maybe on turn 2 learn so you can get this lesson into your hand. And then like turn 3 or turn 4, or maybe it's like a turn 6 or turn 7 card where they're dropping their 7th mana on the very next turn. So what you do is you play this and you'll call the ultimatum out. And now you'll swing. So now it avoids not just that turn, but now gives you a second turn of not having to lose everything or make choices. So that's the value that I can see in the card. So from this point, when you're playing a best of 1, then I think it could be an addition, because this could be one of those get out of jail free cards for 1 turn.
Okay, I kind of agree. So I don't think this is going in your main 60 at all, but what I'm seeing, I don't even know if this is going in the sideboard of a whole lot of best of 3 decks, but maybe it is. But what I'm seeing is a whole lot of value in best of 1 decks right now, is what I'm starting to think. And that's where I think maybe that's where Wizards of the Coast was going with lessons. I could be wrong, which is kind of neat to me, because, you know, you don't have access to your sideboard in best of 1 other than a few niche cards out there, and they're usually attached to blue. And so we all know what they are. But and so this is giving everybody a way to actually be able to utilize that sideboard as well. So neat. Okay, next we have Strict Proctor, 1 white, 1 colorless, creature spirit cleric. It's a 1/3, so it's not getting stomped. You know, I love that stomp test. And it is flying. Whenever a permanent entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability to trigger, counter that ability unless its controller pays 2. Tax card. You know, I love a tax card.
Yeah, this is a good punishment card. And, you know, I really like this card specifically because if you really dislike Yorion, then you're really going to love this card. Because when Yorion comes onto the battlefield, it's ETB. Well, he's got to pay 2. So if he tries to get Yorion on the battlefield on, you know, turn 5, and he's trying to like bounce, you know, the old gods, Binding of the Old Gods, well, he can't now because, you know, he has to pay 2. So it'll cancel that ability and he loses out on that. So
can't even do it on turn 7.
Nope, not even on turn 7.
I mean, Yorion's ability will work.
Yeah,
but the Binding of the Old Gods comes into play. They better have 2 more mana.
Exactly. And that's where this is going to come. People are going to misplay, I think, a lot until they figure out this card or have to deal with it. And since, like you said, it avoids being shot for 2, then it's going to be on the board for a good minute.
I also think there's a possibility that you don't slam this on turn 2. I think that there's a possibility that this is a turn 4, turn 5 play. I think this is going to help you in the later part of the game more than it is in the early part, and you let them waste their removal cards on some of your, you know, smaller stuff. Even, I mean, this is small as well, but some of the stuff you don't care about as much, and let this do its job in the later game and maybe just let you ride you to victory. So
yeah.
Okay, well, and lastly we have Elite Spellbinder, 1 white, 2 colorless. It is a human cleric, 3/1 flying. When Elite Spellbinder enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile a non-land card from it. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may play it. A spell cast this way costs 2 more to cast.
So this card, right off the bat, has that eerie feeling of it's just going to be blown out of the water. But my whole thing on this card is that it comes out in the 3-drop, maybe 4, maybe 5-drop, depending on like when you have it or how you're going to do it. The good part about it is you're peeling a card from their hand. So it could be the removal for this card that you're trying to peel. So they're going to have to do it in response to kill it. And that alone just gets it out of the way anyways. And you're like, okay, it did its job. or it's going to be removing one of those high-end cards. So again, one of the ultimatums, maybe it's double turns, maybe it's like a larger creature like Vorniclex or a Planeswalker, and yeah, they can still cast it, but for 2 more. So you're basically just saving yourself a couple turns. And if you are playing a creature-based deck and you're just going at their face and you're trying to take them down, this might save you some time. The problem, though, is that there are a lot of ways to get rid of this card. So the value it might not see as much value as we might think.
I think it's a limited bomb, and I think it's a standard bulk rare. But that's my opinion. Prove me wrong, buddy. I love it when you do. You do it every time. So, okay, Will. Well, once again, thank you very much for helping. I always love to have someone else's mindset when we're looking at these cards, so it's just not one-sided. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. I love going through these. Nothing makes me happier than seeing new cards come out and being able to brew fun new decks that we get to share with everybody.
Speaking of new, we are very excited for all of our new subscribers. Thank you very much. We're almost to that 100 subscriber landmark when we will be giving away 3,400 gems for free to one of our subscribers at random. So make sure you share the video, subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment down below. We want to hear from you. We'll have a Commander, I believe we have a Commander episode coming out here in the next week or two. We're going to try to make that more regular as well. And so we really have been having fun with you. Let's keep it going. Till next time, as always, have a blast in the arena.